The Japanese government has approved a plan to drastically reform the electric power industry to promote competition and more flexible power supply. Under the current system, major utilities handle the whole business as everything from power generation and transmission to retailing. The plan approved at the cabinet meeting on Tuesday calls for the establishment of an independent body in 2 years that will single-handedly manage the country's power grids. Now, this is designed to allow utilities to transmit electricity between each other more freely. The government also hopes to split up power generation and transmission around 5 to 7 years from now. The aim is to encourage new companies to enter the electricity market. Japanese officials also plan to liberalize electricity for households to let them be able to choose their power suppliers. At present, households really have almost no choice. The government decision is part of the reform and energy policies that were triggered by the accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant in 2011.
One day some twisted son of a bitch is bound to teach you a thing or two about living in this cold, godforsaken world.
North Korean leaders are pushing ahead with plans to strengthen their nuclear development program. The state-run Korean Central News Agency says scientists in the reclusive nation will restart a reactor that can produce plutonium.
This happens with lunatics. Sometimes you get a little craziness. It's all part of the charm.
The unit is located in Yongbyon, north of the capital Pyongyang. The reactor generates electricity, and operators can use the spent fuel to make plutonium. North Korean scientists have used plutonium in experiments, and analysts believe they'll build several nuclear weapons with it. Authorities shut down the reactor in 2007 and destroyed part of its infrastructure. That followed an agreement with members of the six-party talks. The group comprises the two Koreas, the U.S., China, Japan, and Russia. North Korean officials say their decision to restart all nuclear-related facilities at Yongbyon is part of efforts to deal with an electricity shortage. They add it's in line with leader Kim Jong-un's pledge to rebuild the economy and strengthen the nuclear program at the same time. The spokesperson for South Korea's foreign ministry called the announcement extremely regrettable.
North Korea should keep their promise and agreements, and they should maintain denuclearization of the Korean peninsula.
Cho Tae-young said the South Korean government will watch developments closely.
Japanese government leaders are also weighing in on North Korea's decision. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga criticized the plan to restart the reactor.
It's a provocative act that goes against the six-party talks agreement. It constitutes a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Japan needs to treat this issue as a matter of utmost concern.
Suga added Japan will work on this issue with the U.S. and South Korea, as well as China and Russia.
Your lunatics look a little crappy this morning. Isn't there something medical you can give them to spice them up a little bit?
China is North Korea's closest ally, but government officials there aren't happy about the decision to fire up the reactor.
North Korea's announcement is deplorable, and we are on alert. We believe in dialogue and negotiation in order to deal with the situation. Sanctions would not solve the problem fundamentally.
Hong Lei says the situation on the Korean peninsula is complicated and sensitive. He's urging relevant parties to keep calm and exercise restraint. NHK World's Kengo Okamoto is tracking this story for us. He says authorities in Pyongyang are trying to gain more bargaining power.
Restarting the reactor can be seen as another threat aimed at the United States and neighboring countries. Kim Jong-un's father, the late Kim Jong-il, has long wanted North Korea to become a full-fledged nuclear power. He believed it would help strengthen his country's negotiating position with the U.S. But authorities in Pyongyang have always insisted their nuclear program is for peaceful purposes.
These people are dysfunctional.
North Korean scientists intensified their work in the mid-1980s. The U.S., South Korea, Japan, and other nations demanded full access to nuclear facilities. But North Korean officials refused. They ignored international protests and in 1994 instructed scientists to extract plutonium from spent fuel rods. The six-party talks began in 2003 with the goal of halting the North's nuclear development. The North Koreans agreed in 2007 to dismantle nuclear facilities at Nyeonbyong. International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors confirmed the same year that crews had stopped operating the reactor. By then, former IAEA inspector David Albright estimated the country already possessed as much as 50 kilograms of plutonium. However, the North Koreans might have used up some of their supply. They carried out 3 nuclear experiments since 2006, the latest in February. Analysts believe scientists used plutonium in the first 2 tests, but they are not sure about the third. Delegates to the Supreme People's Assembly unanimously adopted legislation on Monday to reinforce the nation's status as a nuclear power. That essentially means they showed their intention to produce more plutonium to further develop their nuclear program. Officials in the US and South Korea have long been pushing for denuclearization on the Korean peninsula. But it is getting almost impossible to convince North Korean leaders to abandon their nuclear program.
I don't like it here anymore.
It's unfortunate, because you're not going anywhere. You're crazy. Crazy people stay here.
The Prime Ministers of Japan and Mongolia have agreed to ramp up bilateral cooperation. They covered issues like resources development and a future economic partnership agreement. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe arrived in the capital Ulaanbaatar on Saturday. He met Mongolian Prime Minister Norvin Ashtan-Hoyag. Abe said Japan is happy to support Mongolia's growth. Japanese technicians will help Mongolia fight air pollution, for example, and aid construction of a subway there. The 2 leaders also talked about regional issues and sharing natural resources. NHK World's Mari Sakamoto brings us more details from Ulaanbaatar.
Abe showed his diplomatic priorities on a brief 2-day visit to Mongolia. He is keen to secure natural resources and to keep North Korea and China in check. The Japanese Prime Minister wants to add Mongolia to his growing list of economic partners. He made it clear that Japan will support Mongolia's growth. Abe is also focused on boosting Japan's energy supplies. He offered to give Mongolia technology in exchange for natural resources.
Mongolia is rich in resources, while Japan lacks resources but has high technology. If we cooperate, it will be a win-win relationship for both countries.
The Prime Minister referred to North Korea. He asked the Mongolian leaders to support Japan's bid to resolve the abductions of Japanese nationals. The 2 leaders also touched on China, Mongolia's neighbor. Abe indicated China's increased military presence and asked Mongolia to understand Japan's standpoint. Mari Sakamoto, NHK World, Ulaanbaatar.
Congratulations, you've somehow managed to stay alive this far into this web video.
Chinese officials are getting help from Japan to clear up a long-running problem. They're in Tokyo to discuss the best way to deal with severe air pollution. Efforts are underway in China to tighten domestic environmental regulations. The laws are lax compared to those in industrialized countries. The Japan International Cooperation Agency is hosting the visit by officials from China's National People's Congress and the Ministry of Environmental Protection. The officials are learning about strict environmental controls based on the Japanese model. One Chinese official said the challenge is to promote economic growth and environmental protection at the same time.
I hope I will be able to learn from Japanese knowledge about environmental protection at this program. I hope I will be able to learn from Japanese knowledge about environmental protection at this program.
What's so funny now? I sometimes just think funny things.
Participants will learn about the legal accountability of central and municipal governments. They will also study the penalties imposed on businesses that discharge pollutants. They will visit factories with advanced environmental technology and meet with NGOs working to protect the environment.
surprise. It won't come as a shock, 'cause I never believe their lies. When the bombs fall, then they could fall any time. They're gonna end it all for a third of mankind. When the bombs fall, don't have the wool put over your eyes. When the bombs fall, you'll wonder how you've been so blind. When the bombs fall, and if they fall on me, my dear, you better look to the sky, 'cause your redemption is near.